It's morning.
And we slept the night away.
Yes.
It's like I don't know if that's what you were going for, but
That is exactly what I was
that's where
going
I'm
for.
taking it. Come
That's
on, show me
exactly
bird
what
dog.
Well. This is the Soulful Cream podcast, and I am Cream Diggler.
And I am soulful Mexican
And we are so happy to come back to you all again.
on a
Those of you
weekday.
on a weekday, yes, we're recording in a different, but who knows when this will be released? Lord knows when it will be released
I
because
don't
we
know.
got to
At
put
least
some in a
I'm
pocket.
just I'm just glad I cleaned up. Got my
Yes, look at
face looking
your.
spick and span, ran the Roomba a little bit.
I mean, what is that? A Steinway back there? I mean,
Yes,
she
yes,
got
yes.
money. She got large.
You gotta
Yes.
have money for a Steinway.
Okay. What is that? Open ground plan with a old rocky chimney fireplace
Hmm.
back there.
I know. I still need to get my TV wall mounted on
Oh,
there.
so fancy, so fancy. So how have you been so far this week there over there, Soulful?
So far, so good. Can't complain. The weather's been lovely. But that's Texas for us this time of year. Everybody else is having a miserable winter, and it's 70 degrees here with a nice cool breeze. I'm outside in a tank top.
Right, in my part of Texas, it got 83 degrees today. I was like, what is going on
Hmm.
here? And my allergies starting to act up. I'm in a meeting today and everybody coughing and and everything, and people are like, "Oh, I promise you, I'm not sick. I'm just just
I
just
know.
got my allergies acting up."
That's the one thing I'm not looking forward to. I can't imagine living in a place like Austin, surrounded by all those cedar trees during pollen
Right.
season.
It's beautiful to look at, but miserable to experience.
Oh God!
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
And then your car is covered in all that. No matter how many times you go to the car wash, you come back and your car is covered in all that green powder.
Yes, disaster, Kalostima. Now, before we started, you were talking about a TV show. Wait, was it a TV show that you were asking me about before we started? Before we started recording, I tell you, fans, listeners, friends, my memory is so bad. I tell you, it's a good thing I do not smoke weed because it would be. I'd be like Henry. What's that movie Henry with the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark? He did it. Oh gosh, you remember Henry? It's like a movie from the '90s that he did. First of all, who's the guy I'm talking about right now?
I'm not sure because I'm
He
thinking about Book of Henry, but I know that's not the movie you're talking about.
he married Callista Flockhart, or got with Callista Flockhart, the Raiders of the Lost Ark guy.
Oh, Indiana Jones. You're talking about
Yeah,
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. Yes, Harrison Ford did a movie called Dear Henry or something like that back in the '90s, where he had amnesia or he had forgotten who he was, and everybody was acting like he was this really great guy, but when it turns out he was really a total asshole. You know,
Hmm.
so it was really interesting. Speaking of interesting shows, I had a friend of mine that insisted that I watch Sharper on Apple Plus TV. And this show stars Julianne Moore. It stars the
I love her.
guy. I love her too. I mean, there's really no, she can't do no wrong. And it stars the guy from is it Third Rock from the Sun? Um, John Lithgow.
Oh,
He's in
he's
there.
a kooky character.
And then there's a lot of new people. At least they're new to me. They probably have. I'm sure they have experience from doing other things. But my friend, and this is a total spoiler. So if you have not watched this show, y'all, I'm about to spoil it for Soulful too. But I gotta get this off my chest. I gotta get this off my chest. So it's a great movie. It really is a good movie until it's not, because I'm not gonna get into all the details of it, but the basic premise is there are a lot of twists and turns with people catfishing each other, or deceiving each other for money. Okay, and in the end, your girl, uh Julianne Moore, she's conned this man out of $9 billion. Okay, this man she married, he left her $9 billion. The son didn't get the money, so the son sets out to guess to con her back, right? So however they try to do it, in the end, the son makes it look like she shot him, and everyone there's witnesses around. Uh, and she's like, "Well, I don't want to go to jail. I'll give the money back if y'all won't call the police and don't report me. I'll give all the money back." And I was like, "This is how y'all gonna try to wrap this movie up? It's saying that because she thinks that she shot this guy, she gonna give up $9 billion. Girl, you could take $1 billion and stay out of the courts. You be in court forever. You won't spend a day in jail because you're a good lawyer would tie it all up." And she gave. I tell you, I was so mad that she gave away $9 billion because they did some old ranky dink kind of scam back on her. I just soulful.
I mean, $9 million for an attempted
Okay,
murder and a first time. I mean, the bail by itself would have been less than.
okay. I just like the movie. I was like, this movie, y'all got lazy at the end of this movie because any of us, I would have held on to that $9 billion till my dying day. Okay, like we would have been in so much court and litigation, and you could have she could have paid for so many different witnesses, and it was just so lazy writing to get her to get scammed out of the money. I just I
Funny
just can't.
story, and this story is real life, and this is why I see your frustration with that movie. One of my previous jobs, we had a vendor that we used to use, a smaller vendor in the New York area, and anybody in the last 10, 15 years that's stays in the loop in the world of finance might pick up on who it is. But we had a vendor in New York that we used, and we were kind of fed up with how other vendors in that area were underperforming, that we just exclusively decided to give that particular vendor that whole region, the tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, and all of that. Well, suddenly the vendor just kept telling us that they were going to do what they were going to do, but they weren't doing it, and it was very odd. And we have a meeting the next day. Hey, none of the stuff that we said you're going to do, you didn't get to it. Say, yeah, we're going to get to it today. They would go again. They weren't doing it, but they kept talking like, yeah, we're about to knock it out. Yeah, it's on the route. It's on the route. Come to find out that they had embezzled millions of dollars from us and from other banks that were there. Um, the two owners that were family kind of acted like, oh, we don't know what happened, this and that. They kind of threw their chief operating officer under the bus,
Wow.
and the chief operating officer went to jail. Went to jail for 2 years. But when he got out of jail, he got his plane ticket and left the country because he had sent a lot of that money to another country. So yeah, if you're gonna play that game, I mean, why would you give up
Right.
after all the years of scamming?
Two
Tucking away.
years of prison for how many millions did that person run away
Mhm.
with?
Yeah, and it wasn't even. It was just jail. It wasn't like he went to Alcatraz or something.
It-
Just go to jail, mind your business, keep your head low, don't let people, don't let people pick up on your presence too much. Find the meanest person and be his bitch.
right? Just take it
That
like a
when
man.
someone tries to, that's when someone tries to start shit with you, just be like, kill her. No, but yeah, no. So yeah, I could see the frustration, all that hard work, and then you're just gonna give up the money like that.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna let it go. I'm trying to let it go.
She was in another movie too I saw recently where she also was playing a scammer. I can't remember what it was, but she was like turned out to be like a lesbian,
Mm.
uh, like a lesbian therapist, and the girl that she was providing therapy to,
Oh, okay.
they turned out to be scammers together, and then they kind of turned on each other. So, very interesting that this is the direction she went with that too.
She said, I gotta cash these checks. Scammer be damn. But
Side effects.
Side effects. Okay, is that a playing on anything in particular? Is that a movie? Is that a TV
It's a
show? What is
movie.
that?
It's a movie.
Okay,
I think I saw it on Netflix or Hulu or something like that. But yeah,
okay.
that's also her being a
Well,
scammer.
also on Netflix is a show that has, oddly enough, it's for children, but it has all the gays up in arms, and it is the show My Daddy, the Bounty Hunter. It's a show about this man who it's on Netflix, and it's about this man who is separated from his wife. They literally talk about separation on this show, and his kids hop in the trunk of the car when he has to go to work and trying to surprise him and realize that their dad is a bounty hunter, but not any kind of bounty hunter, but a bounty hunter in outer space. He's an outer space bounty hunter.
So it's an animated film,
Yes, it's
kind of
animated.
like
It's
Pixar, kind of like Pixar, even something
very
like that.
Pixar, but it's a TV series, 10 episode TV series, about 30 minutes each an episode. So it's very really digestible words.
And the lead
Um,
characters are all black.
they're all black, yes. And what's really interesting though is that the dad is this big kind of bear of a man. And listen, when I first saw I didn't say it out loud because I was like, this is a cartoon. What are you thinking? But I was like, he looked kind of fine, this cartoon character. And and then I found out I'm not the only one who's thinking it. A lot of people are thinking it, like online and talking to other friends of mine.
He's
Everyone's
kind of
like,
beefy.
the dad is a beefy hunk here on this cartoon. And I'm like, I wonder who the animators are. If they knew what they were doing when they designed this hunk of a character that all the gays are going up over this beefy dad or DILF character.
Well, let's see who the voice actors. Okay, you've got Laz Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Yvonne Orji, which I loved
Mm-hmm.
her in Insecure.
The
Yeah,
girl who plays his daughter sounds like that girl from Stranger Things, and I'm
Priya
trying to.
Ferguson.
That's her. And I'm trying to let it go because that girl sounds the same in everything she does. She kind of reminds me of like Wanda Sykes.
Yeah,
Like there's
she
just
is Stranger Things. Yeah, Priya
that's her.
Ferguson.
I was like, it's just hard to let that part go. But I'm trying to ignore it every time she sounds like, because all I hear is that little girl from Stranger Things, and I'm just like, okay. But it's a good show. Other than that, it's good. The animation's cool. The storyline's pretty cool. I highly recommend y'all check out My Daddy the Bounty Hunter on Netflix. Or is there any shows you're watching right now, Soulful, on Netflix?
Not at the moment. Actually, I take it back. I am done with Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, did you finish that? I haven't finished that. Did it get
Yeah,
better and better?
it's only 8 episodes. I can't really say it got better and better. It got different and different.
Okay, all right.
Because it's I mean it's Guillermo del Toro's it's his brainchild, but and you could see a lot of elements in the show that come from him. Some of the actors he's using, some of the effects that he's using, to some of the monsters he's using. But apparently different directors did different stories, and that's what makes it so unpredictable, because each director has their own aesthetic. They take it a different direction.
Right.
So some of them are going to be very gory and disturbing. Some of them are going to be very twisted and confusing. And some of them are going to be very, cathartic and fulfilling. But it reminds me so much of Tales from the Crypt back in the 90s,
Yes, it's
but
definitely
better,
getting that. Yeah, it's
but
getting
better,
that.
with a
Yeah.
lot more backing and a lot more funding.
Yes, yes. So moving on to our next topic, People Magazine is reporting. Well, a lot of news outlets are reporting, but I read this in People Magazine. A Massachusetts mom kills her 3 children, and a lot of people were talking about, is this postpartum, or is this postpartum depression, or is this postpartum psychosis, and you know, or is this woman just simply uh, guilty of premeditated murder? That's the other question about this. Um, what is the term? Is it infanticide when you kill your own children, or is that just when you kill a baby?
That's
When
when
it's,
you kill a baby.
you kill a baby. And is it matricide? I don't know. Y'all tell us in the comments which one it is. When you're looking at it,
Matricide would be killing your mother.
which one matricide would be killing the mother?
Yes.
Well, honey, then what is it when the mama kill the kid?
Well, that depends. In our country, that depends of the mother that's doing
Ooh,
it.
unpack that. Unpack that.
And
Uh,
it's not an unfamiliar story. I mean, a little over 20 years ago, Houston had its own very controversial case when Andrea Yates drowned all six of her children.
oh yeah,
And
jeez.
yeah, and they were talking about, is this murder? Because murder usually comes with some form of premeditation.
Right.
Or was this just, was it postpartum? Was it, is it some kind of psychological issue? And it's very difficult. And I think, at the time, my aunt was very vocal about it too. And she normally doesn't speak on subjects like that, but she was like, if you're home all day with six kids, you don't, that's a lot of strain on one person. You don't
It
know what's
is.
going through her. And, you could take the wrong trigger to do something like that.
Yeah, the article was talking about postpartum psychosis, and if you will indulge, if the church will indulge me for a moment, I'm going to read
Take your
a.
time, Pastor. Take your time.
I'm going to read a scripture.
You look like you're about to read the church announcements the way you put the glasses up.
So, what is postpartum psychosis? While postpartum depression is a more common condition that affects roughly 1 in 8 new mothers, causing changes in mood, appetite, and sleep, and in extreme cases, thoughts of suicide, postpartum psychosis is a completely different disease, according to psychiatrist Samantha Meltzer Brody, chair of the University of North Carolina Center for Women's Mood Disorders. It's associated with losing touch with reality and sudden delusional thoughts like wanting to hurt a baby or thinking the child is possessed. So, different than being, I guess, sad and depressed and feeling like, only way to end it all is just to stop the
Let's
noise.
let's say
We,
extreme measures.
yes, yes, extreme measures.
Were you reading from a magazine?
I was reading from People
Oh my God,
magazine.
I'm so happy. Print is not dead, people.
Print is not dead. No, I subscribe to People. People, give a girl a coin. I subscribe to People, and I also subscribe to Vogue magazine. I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still buy books, like physical books. I just can't get to the point where I could read a book off a Kindle or
I
a
try
tablet or
so hard.
something.
The Kindles are so little. Like, I don't know. I can see doing it like on a vacation as like I'm on the beach. I can see it having like an outdoor usage, I
I
guess.
don't know if you're trying to read a Kindle on the beach, that glare is going to make the screen very difficult to
But don't
see.
they have like they're like glare proof or something?
I
That like
guess so.
I think they are. Like
Yes, so I just like books. I like physical books, hardcover books. I like to read from them. I like to put them in a shelf when I'm done.
look how thick that is, right? You like there's something about having something thick in your hands like this. You
That's what
don't
she
want
said.
right. You don't want nothing thick, electronic. You want it the weight. This is a girthy book in my
Oh
hands
my
right here.
God.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the one with the innuendos. Come on, Cream.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just talking about how
A
heavy
book.
that book is. It's a
Oh
heavy
my
book.
goodness.
hmm Well, here's the thing about this story about this woman in Massachusetts. When I was looking at the article, this woman has a beautiful farmhouse home in Massachusetts. It looks real spacious. She looks like she's probably upper middle class to kind of wealthy, and she basically looks like she comes from a background where she has resources. And of course, that does not mean that this kind of stuff doesn't happen to people with resources. But I don't know. I feel like if it can happen to people with resources, how much more can it happen to people without them? You know, the poor people. But then I think maybe sometimes poor people tend to have more resources and help. You know, like your neighbors and your family that you can depend on. You know, like girl, come watch these kids. I'm losing my mind. Somebody
Yeah.
come get these kids. You know,
You
kind of
know,
situation.
to add what you've been saying, we do have a lot more resources today. Digital resources. We have online therapists. We have WebMDs and such like that to help. Maybe I'm just old school, but I feel like I am a living embodiment of what it is when a village raises a child.
Mm,
They always say it takes a village to raise a child. And, I grew up with my parents, with my aunt and uncle across the street, and my grandmother staying with them, and my other aunt and uncle across the street. And I got to grow up with my brothers and my cousins together. And, sometimes one parent watched us all, sometimes they all watched us together, and it was a
mm,
team effort, sometimes a combination.
mm,
But no parent in that particular village was ever alone. They had other
mm.
parents to help, and they had the support. And I think it really goes a long way. More and more today, I see more couples raising kids by themselves, running back to
Yeah.
the daycare and coming back, trying to put all these things together after a long day of work. And it's not, I imagine it's not easy. It's not
Mm.
easy doing that day after day, realizing, wow, this isn't going to end until this kid graduates and is out the house. I gotta deal with this with 18 years without a break.
Mm.
So it's just, you know I guess you just really got to think about that commitment before you do it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people are like, and I guess the thing about it, you don't never know how you're gonna, respond. I guess after
Mhm.
that, it's you just never know how that is gonna affect you. But definitely, we send prayers out to that family. The husband is devastated. He
Of
just,
course.
he's really devastated to lose three children at once
And his
is
wife.
the tragedy. Yeah, and a wife.
To
Yeah,
lose a wife to the system after that.
yeah, yes. Most because either way it goes, whether she's found guilty of premeditated murder or not, she ain't coming home
No.
after doing that. So yeah, that's real rough. But speaking of other news, as I mentioned before, Erykah Badu is on the cover of U.S. Vogue. I don't know why this is so surprising to me right now, because I guess because she hasn't announced any brand new music. Uh, yeah, it's they're just talking to her about her life and her sense of culture and style and how Erykah Badu has always been someone who rocks to her own beat, right? She's always been someone who, I mean, if you go to if you go to Vogue's YouTube channel, they have an interview with her in her music house, and she's like walking around and showing the different instruments she plays with, and she's always talking about chakras and all that stuff. I mean, she's just a I don't know if she's somebody I would want to hang out with every day, but I definitely wouldn't mind like visiting and like just kind of seeing how eccentric she is. I mean, she's clearly an eccentric lady.
I definitely would like to hang out with her for an extended period because I want to know who drove who crazy. Was it her that drove Andre 3000 crazy, or was it Andre 3000 that drove her crazy? Because
Well,
both of them were eccentric.
that means you got to hang out with both of them at some point.
They're
You
both
got to,
very eccentric, but
yeah.
I love her music. I love her personality from what we get to see on
Mm-hmm.
the media. I
Yeah.
love that she's so quirky. She released she she released that incense or candles that was supposed to be dabbed in her
Her.
hoo ha.
Yes.
It was called Badusi.
Her
um,
vagine juice.
Yes,
Yes.
she's done some movies too. She when they did that movie What Men Want with
Uh,
Taraji Henson, and she was the fortune teller that got
Mm,
her to drink the tea that ended up making her be able to hear what men are thinking.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's very definitely an interesting character, very creative as an artist. I remember when she did all the controversy, not just all the shock that she created when she was filming the video for Window Seat in
Oh
Dallas, where
yeah,
she's from, and she
yeah,
was walking naked on the street, and then she ends up dropping like she got shot on the very same spot that JFK was shot.
yeah.
You know, very very much a visionary. Um, I love, the fact that she got to do her verses with Jill Scott.
Mm,
You know, I get, you can't help but love and appreciate her. She's
yeah.
definitely brought a lot to the music world. I think she, did a lot for neo soul at that particular time as well, and has been very influential to a lot of neo soul artists today.
Hmm. I was watching an interview that she did with Tamla Man, not not Tamla Man, Tamron. What's her name?
Tamron,
Tamron. That
the
woman,
talk show host, yeah.
talk show host. Yeah, she calls everybody her Tam fam. So I saw an interview she did with her, and she was talking about the neo soul moniker and how uh, she loves being the queen of neo soul, but she's also went on and do other things, and she definitely has done that. But for me, I like her neo soul stuff the best. Like some of her more experimental work, man, I've tried so hard. And when I mean really, like more than most artists, usually if I listen to an album and it doesn't resonate with me, I don't go back. But with Erykah Badu's stuff, I have gone back over the years to go back to those albums to see maybe New America 2 or New America 1 or whatever. I just wasn't ready for it. Maybe it was just maybe now that I'm a little bit older, maybe it'll do something for me. Nope, nothing. I mean, it's just too chaotic for my senses. I'm not that advanced as a musician, I guess.
I do
To
like that she's committed to her theme, though.
she's
You know,
very committed to a
she's
thing.
committed
Yes,
to her theme the same way that Janelle Monáe did. Because Janelle
yes,
Monáe, when she first came down, had the whole futuristic dystopian, and arch android kind of thing.
yeah.
And she
Hmm.
stuck with it for a very long time.
She
And
did.
it's just,
She did.
yeah, and it's very interesting to see Erykah kind of keep a similar theme
Yeah.
going throughout her albums also.
Unfortunately, I think they both did that to their detriments. I mean, just
Well, Janelle's been very good, and she's
as
been doing more
as a
film.
as an actor, yeah, she's been doing really well as an actor, but
Mhm.
her music ain't been popping. But hey, so for some people, it ain't about the sales, and that's fair. Like sometimes as an artist, you go fuck it. I want to make what I want to make, and if it does what people, if everybody loves it, great. If everybody does it, fine. And I
Well,
I respect
to
that.
be to be fair, a true artist isn't in it for the sales. I mean, they want the sales. If
Yeah,
you
true.
could live off of doing what you love to do and love to create, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you can put music and stuff out there that's going to stand the test of time, whether or not you ever win an award, whether or not you become the richest person off of it, that in itself is flattering.
Well, just to be devil's advocate, to say on the counterpoint is as an artist, as he sips his drink, as an artist, who are you doing it for? Are you
Mhm.
doing it for the ether, for the just the air, or are you doing it for people to enjoy and to consume? And as because to me, an artist without an audience, what are you? What
Well,
what what are you if you don't have an audience?
that is true, but let me revisit this just because I knew you had some strong opinions about it when it came out. So about 9 or 10 weeks ago, SZA released her debut album,
Yeah.
and it's been some time now, and it's going on its ninth week in one of the number one slots still.
Yes, I don't understand it.
So obviously she has an audience for it. That's
She clearly has an audience. Yes.
But do you really think that she did that album for her audience, or she did it because that's what she felt in her creative demeanor to
Well,
put?
yes, yes. As an artist, you cannot make art and go, well, the people like this. I'm gonna do the note like this because the people will respond to it like this. Yes, you can't do that. But I do feel like some people make art with a fuck you to the audience in mind. Like they know
Like
this is
Lauren
going to be
Hill.
hard for people to stomach. Like what?
Like Lauren Hill.
Yeah, yeah. You make
I don't
work.
care if y'all wait 3 hours. Y'all gonna wait
Yes.
for my one album.
There are some artists who do that. They know, like some
Not
artists
since
are
you
good
had
at
other
being
albums,
different, but yet still appealing. Like for example, I hate to go old school. I keep doing this, but people with longevity like Madonna, Janet Jackson, who they did different stuff on all their albums and went with their own sense of taste, and follow their own, artistic impulses, but yet it was still appealing to the masses on some level. I think there's ways to do both, and of course, as you said, to some people, it's not important to appeal to the masses. To them, it's enough to have 500,000 people like their stuff. Because if 500,000 people buy your album, and and you got the appropriate amount of points on it,
well,
you ain't got another work again.
we live in the world of streaming now. It's not just about buying the album once. If they play the full album once or
True,
twice a day, every single day, they're gonna stay there,
just true.
and
That's very true. Although they don't make much money on streaming, Mariah Carey said she said it's pennies. For streaming is
I'm
pennies.
sure. I'm
Yes.
sure.
But kudos to the divas. We love you, Erykah Badu. Congratulations on being on the cover of U.S. Vogue. I mean, not British Vogue like Rihanna was last month with um, ASAP Rocky and her baby. Not saying that British Vogue is somehow less than U.S. Vogue, unless depends on who you talk to.
just do a British accent to clean it up. And Erica, if you
Congratulations.
and Erica, if you want to put an album out, we will still hear it. I would love to hear it.
Of course, always. You can come on here and rebuke me in the name of Jesus. Come on.
Come on, Miss Low Down Loretta Brown. That's her DJ.
Oh
If you
yeah,
ever
bring
decide to
her.
go to if you ever decide to go to Dallas and you see that there's a party or some event going on and the DJ is going to be DJ Low Down Loretta Brown, that's Erica.
All right. Well, in not as happy news, Christina Applegate. We all know Christina Applegate from Married with Children,
Kelly Bundy.
Kelly Bundy, and she recently had
And
a
don't tell
show.
and of course the cult classic Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh yes, that and
I'm right on
another
top of that,
show.
Rose.
So Christina Applegate has MS, and she was recently at the SAG Awards, and she said, there in an interview, this is going to probably be my last public appearance. She was there. She had a cane and everything. And what's really kind of sad about this is that I guess before, some people didn't know, people on the internet didn't know, and so when they saw pictures of her on the red carpet, they assumed that she had had some kind of plastic surgery, and they were like reading her in the comments saying, "Oh, you need to fire your plastic surgeon. You need to get better at plastic surgery." And she's like, "I have MS. Thank you very much. That's what's going on with me."
Ooh, there were some dicks.
Yeah,
So
total
insensitive. Cancel those bitches.
well, right. Speaking of canceling people who make horrible comments, why is it when people make horrible comments and the news media outlets talk about the horrible comments the person made and they show the comment, but they blur out the name of the person who made it, like their handle? Why do they do that? Because the person tweeted it in a public forum, so why can't it be notated in the news that I hate whatever 456 tweeted this? Like, why
I
do they
guess
blur it out?
I guess it's just ethics. I think they know the kind of damage that it can do if they were to post that information out there. I mean, one can't say it's sensitive information or private information because it's not. It's
Yeah,
not. And truthfully speaking, if somebody posted it on Twitter, you just got to search certain words in that and you'll find it. But the thing
right.
is, if a business entity like a news station or such like that, if you start doing something like that, it's definitely gonna make people question the company's values and create problems for them. I mean, when a social media individual does it, it's, hey, this person said this, post the handle and everything. Now it's become a term called doxing.
Mm.
where DOXXING. And sometimes social media influencers have been known to put somebody on blast that said something negative or something like that, and put their handle and everything. And what ends up happening, his followers and random people start attacking them, sometimes making death threats
Hmm.
and things like that. It's like when people say something bad about Beyonce and the Beehive comes after them. So doxing in many states is starting to be seen as some kind of a punishable offense. So I
Mm.
think for a news station to reveal that and not, and keep the identity private, it's just one of those, it's just one of those ways of them keeping their hands clean. Like,
Mm.
I didn't show who it was. Now, if they figured it out themselves, that's on them. But we never revealed the person who said it.
Right, right.
People are
And
saying,
people are saying, well, and I feel bad for Christina Applegate. I hope that she's not saying that she's not coming back out because of people's comments. It's probably more so about the fact that she's maybe just doesn't have the energy. I know
she's
as you get
coping.
sicker, yeah, it's just like I don't want to be around people and doing red carpets when I'm trying to just be comfortable.
Yeah, I guess it also depends on the type of MS. Because I mean, Montel had a talk show for many
That's true.
years while he
Yeah.
had MS. And I know, there's different kinds of MS. It affects different parts of your
Yeah.
body. For Christina, I don't know how long she's had it, but
Mhm.
and or what kind she has. But
Right.
clearly, it's going to take some time to cope and acclimate with it, providing that there's room to cope and get acclimated to it.
Yeah, you're right about Montel. I'm just thinking. I don't remember Montel ever looking sick. Like
He talked
his.
about the MS affecting his
Yeah.
feet, and sometimes he even
Mm.
brought it up on the show.
Mm.
But no, he never, he knew how to manage it well. If there was going to be any kind of impact to his posture or his mobility, he's on a talk show. He just sat the whole time, so he knew how to manage that piece.
Right. Right. So, moving on to our next topic, we're going to be talking about trailers. I'll be just curious if there's any movie trailers out that made you go, because we always think a trailer makes you want to go see a movie.
Hmm.
But are there any trailers that made you go, no, I don't want to see that? I don't want to see that. Thank you for showing me the trailer. I now will make sure I do not show up at the theater.
There was a movie called Missing where the girl, her mother went on a trip abroad and the mother suddenly disappears, or so they think she disappears, and she's trying to
Yeah.
use social media to track her down. Something about that just gave me a headache. It just kind of reminded me of that scary movie Unfriended, where you're basically watching four screens for the whole movie, and then you see
Oh, yes.
get murdered in the background, or the lights go out. All of a sudden, the girl has a hot curler in her throat, and I just kind of see this movie Missing going the same way. I'm like, I'll pass.
It's that girl from the DuVernay movie. She was when she was a little
Ava
girl. She
DuVernay.
Ava DuVernay, the one where Oprah was one of the witches or some mystical being. Uh, the old movie. It's so
Oh,
funny.
you're talking about Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time. Yes, it's the lead girl from Wrinkle in Time. She's playing the daughter that you're talking about in Missing, and then the mom is one of the women from what's that the black show, the new chapter, all the black friends who get together, and Tay Diggs wrote a book about him. I think she's one of the
91 Long.
yeah, Nia Long. Nia Long. She's the other person in there. Told y'all, my memory is not the best.
It's
I'm
not
not good
that
with
he
names.
he watches a lot of movies and a lot of shows.
Yeah, it's like I know,
It's his field.
but I'm not good with names.
It's information overload.
It is, it is. I was watching every time, and I've watched this trailer many times because I couldn't help it because it keeps coming on before so much stuff. Is the Magic Mike trailer, and when I tell you that movie looks so bad to me that
Where
the
they
so now
brought in Selma Hayek.
Selma Hayek, yeah, I almost said Sanaa Lathan. When they brought in Selma Hayek, yes, and uh, it just her little him. teasing her moment. I'm just like, oh god, I don't want to see this. I am not the audience for this. I clearly, I am not going to go see this at all. It's something how trailers like that just kind of just make you just I'll pass. No thanks. All right. So what do we have next here? People Magazine has done a great thing here. I'm going to put back on my church glasses. They have recognized the 10 best black shows on television that changed television. I should say not on television, but because these are shows. A lot of these shows are not even on TV anymore. So these are the shows that change television. Just without me going into the list, what are some shows that give me like 2 shows you think will probably be on the list?
A different world.
Yeah, That's a good pick. That's a good pick. What else is another one you think may be on the list?
Probably the Cosby Show.
Good picks. Let's see what they say here. So up first is just looking out of the window, watching the asphalt blow. What show is that?
I'm drawing a blank.
Thinking how it all keeping your head above the water.
That's the line I knew, and I'm just
making the way when you can. Yeah, good time. Yeah,
now,
good time.
To be fair, when a lot of these shows were coming out, I didn't speak English when these theme songs were out. I didn't know speak English.
Wow, we're going to have a whole episode talking about that because I really want to dive into the whole. Because your parents are first generation, like
I'm the first generation.
You're first generation. They're immigrants.
Yes.
Oh, we gotta talk, girl. We gotta talk. Okay, we got a whole episode to talk about. We're gonna have an immigration episode. First gen episode. Okay, we got some conversations to be had. Okay, the next show here. Let's see if this rings a bell. Dun dun dun. Dun, 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 dun. It didn't come with music. It didn't come with words.
Any lyrics?
Yeah, any lyrics. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm thinking the Cosby Show.
This is Sanford and Son. Unless I'm totally
that's right. That's right.
Son.
That might be a little bit before my time, but I do know who Red Fox was.
It is like what's funny about this? Sanford and Son ran from 1972 to 1977. That's it. But I remember her like she must have been in reruns for a long time.
Oh, God, still in syndication.
Right, because I remember her like coming on quite often. And I was born in 1985, so
Where's my mug?
Maybe not quite, but anyway, I was young. I was too young for it. Definitely premiered before I was born. The next show is Julia. I don't know what her because she came way before my time. Julia, featuring our first female black lead,
Diane Carroll as
with Diane Carroll. Mm-hmm. I would show a picture from the magazine, but I don't know if we have rights to that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble. But anyway, here's another one. Well, we're moving on up to the east side.
To a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Moving on up. So yeah, you got it. That is the Jeffersons, which ran from 1975 to 1985. That's a long run.
Which apparently is also a spinoff.
Yeah, yes, a spinoff.
Herman Helmsley used to be on All in the Family.
That's right, I do remember that.
With racist ass Archie Bunker. Those were the days.
Yeah, that's a good Edith. That's a good Edith Bunker. Okay, now yes, the 1984 to 1992, The Cosby Show. I just jumped on into that because I forgot how The Cosby Show music goes. Da, 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 da. I don't know. It's too generic. Well, they had a couple of different theme songs on the Cosby Show.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember watching one of their episodes, and I was like, I didn't know Adam Sandler was on the Cosby Show.
Right. So many people were on the Cosby Show. So many.
Marissa Tomei was actually in a different world,
She was
but no,
different world.
Adam Sandler. Yeah, apparently
Yeah.
I posted that on my Facebook one time. Like, I didn't know Adam Sandler was on the Cosby Show. One of my friends from Chicago, who happens to be white, he's like, yeah, he was Theo's friend. Theo's friend on the basketball team. And then one of our mutual black friends telling the white guy, you amaze me more and more every time.
As you said, Different World. Different World is on here as one of those TV shows.
Oh, I think it's one of the most brilliant concepts ever to hit TV. I mean, you have an entire show dedicated to the life of students in an HBCU.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are hundreds of thousands of students that purposely chose an HBCU just because they got to see the experience of being in one from that show.
Most definitely. It made me. It just made the idea of going to college attractive to me at that time. Like the whole thing.
I did go to Texas Southern, so HBCU there. No, but one of the things, and it's not a black TV show, but the show Daria that came out in the late '90s. It's also a spinoff because Daria used to be on Beavis and Butthead. But they had a character on there named Jody. She was the
that black girl with braids.
Yeah, Jody. She was like the smartest girl in school, the most promising, the valedictorian with the hot black boyfriend who was, the head of the team. I mean, just, in a school of white kids. But one of the brilliant things that she said on her show was, her dad, and that one of the things why I was so ahead of their time, her dad was trying to get her to go to one of the Ivy League schools. And she's like, no, I want to go to the HBCU. And he's like, why? To relax. And she's like, who wants to go to college to relax? No, I want to relax socially. I just want to be a student, not be the black student.
Hey, that is a thing.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
I think a lot of people look at HBCUs and be like, I can just be a student. I don't have to be the black student in a room full of white kids. Because, at that time, diversity wasn't as pushed as much as it is in colleges now.
So there's a few more other shows on here, but I won't spoil it. Y'all got to go get y'all's issue of People Magazine and find out what that is. What the rest of those shows are. So
and
what we're gonna
and take a selfie with that People Magazine.
Yeah,
tag cream.
or go to people.com and take a screenshot there.
Let him know print is not dead.
That's right. And so what we're gonna do is take a quick commercial break. I heard through the grapevine that everyone loved I love the commercials. So we want to keep giving them to you. This commercial features one of our friends and guest podcasters, Junior Boy, for his Baddie Bitch formula. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
I'm Junior Boy and the president of JB Salons. It is my mission to help all bitches go from drab to fab. How do we do this, you ask? My patented Baddie Bitch formula has been a marvelous revelation for basic bitches. Our Baddie Bitch formula can be used as a relaxer, facial exfoliant, and a vaginal rejuvenator. Because if you don't look good, well, I still do.
Yes. You want to be a baddie bitch, you got to keep it tight to keep it right.
That's right. Amen.
You know what? That needs to be a cocktail. I would totally order a baddie bitch at the bar.
I would order a baddie bitch too, right? Okay, gay bars, if y'all make baddie bitches, give us some credit for that. Okay?
Part of the proceeds towards this drink,
right, goes to the Soulful Cream podcast. Girl, I mean, they might as well. You are doing a community service to donate to us. All right. So our main topic today, you think, oh, girl, y'all 50 minutes in, you haven't got to your main topic. No, we have not.
And you're going to listen anyway.
That's right.
Because we keeps it interesting.
we keeps it interesting, and this is even more interesting. We're talking about the 5 types of wealth today.
Mm.
What are they, and which ones should we prioritize? And how do you get them? Uh, we may have some ideas that you may disagree with, and we would love to hear about them in the comments. Okay, I guess everybody agrees with us. We don't get a lot of dissent in the comments. Usually people will be like, when you said such and such, I disagree, but we don't get a lot of that. So
No, and
I
even
guess
if we
we're
did,
right.
just considering our professional fields, we're both equipped to handle difficult conversations
Oh,
and
most definitely.
disagree, and
Yes.
disagree respectfully. So,
Yeah.
you know, so don't
Mhm.
expect no fight club over here.
No, I mean, keep it clean, keep it cute. Keep it cute now. Because the block hand is strong, but keep it cute.
True.
It's all good. So the 5 types of wealth: financial, i.e., money. The second one is social, relationships. The third being physical, your health. The fourth being mental, your spirituality. Then the fifth being time, which could equal your freedom. Uh, what do you think, Soulful, about this 5 types of wealth? What is your take on this?
Well, if I don't agree with it, I need to get my life together. But all 5 of them are actually a priority for me, especially at this current point of my life. So I
Hmm.
think it's spot on. I think for a lot of people, if they're not at this stage with all of these, they're trying to get there. And sometimes for different motivators, because like I'm looking at physical, and I know
Hmm.
why I focus on my physical health so much because,
Hmm.
as I've gotten older, I've encountered certain health issues that come with age and obesity and things like that. And I'm trying to overcome them to have a better
Hmm.
quality of life and prolong my life.
Right, right.
And, I know in earlier stages in my life, might have been more concerned with my physical health for different reasons to be more appealing and attractive and be more of a
Mm.
whore. But but no, I think at some point in time, everybody has prioritized all 5 of these for different reasons and different motivations. So
Yeah,
I think it's pretty spot on.
yeah. I agree. I like them. I think we all may focus on different ones at different times, as we might ought to do, because you might can't just focus on all the things at once. But for me, I think if I had to rank one as the most important one, I would probably say maybe the physical health kind of starts first, followed with a close second of mental health. And maybe they could switch, flip flop. Maybe you need mental to lead the body. I can see how that could be maybe, but those two are kind of first and second for me, because to me, when your body ain't right in terms, and I don't mean you got the perfect body in terms of uh, how
Physique.
you look, physique and stuff. I'm talking about just you feel good, you can move, you have use of your limbs, you can. You're not sitting at home with the flu. You can.
Come on,
You,
Stephanie Mills. I
you,
feel good. I feel good all over.
okay, that's it. Like when you feel good enough to do things that, because I was listening to some quote that somebody was talking about that no matter how much money you make, people would trade anybody would trade all the money in to feel good and feel healthy and feel, like you can get out of the bed. Like you don't want to be wealthy and in the bedridden, you know.
I mean, being
Uh
unhealthy is costly. Being
yeah,
immobile is costly. So,
yeah.
to have all those physical attributes in your favor in itself is a cost savings, not to mention the happiness that you get from a better quality of life.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think, especially, I just feel like everybody today is really, really, really pushing mental health as a huge priority. People individually on social media, you're constantly seeing people retweet, reshare, mental health,
Hmm.
prioritizing that. Especially, because not keeping an eye on your mental health can lead to, psychotic breakouts or even suicide. And
Right,
it's
right.
great to see that even, jobs and corporations are taking mental health so much more seriously now because, over the years, trying to be competitive in the workplace has made it very toxic. And, and it just like, if you can't handle it, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen.
Right,
You
right.
can't keep doing that to your employees. You can't keep doing that to your employees, having them burn the candle at both ends. You can't keep having them do multiple jobs for the same pay because if they don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to see that at some point they've taken some accountability that they are the reason why there's so much stress and so much deterioration in in people's mental wellness.
Yeah. It's really interesting because we do come from a generation where you just did what you had to do, you know, whatever the boss said and the company said went, and you just did it. There was really not much up for debate, unless you were like a part of a union or something, maybe. Um, which is really interesting because I was listening to something on some of the unions for the technicians in film. We're talking about there's this new motion that they've made that they're trying to get passed, where let's say a job, they may get booked for a job, but the job doesn't always take all the time it takes for you to get from the city to where the location is, and they may not allow for food or housing and all this kind of stuff. And so they're saying we want to introduce a bill where the company will have to pay if I have if if they go late and I miss my train, right, and I got to get a hotel, or if they change the location and it's 3 hours further than it was supposed to be, like I shouldn't have to uh, forfeit that money out of my pocket to adapt to production. And whereas before that would have never been heard of. Everyone's so grateful to be in the business. You just do what you got to do and you adjust to how you got to adjust. But we are, as you said, in a time where we are prioritizing people and people's mental health a little bit more than we used to. Uh, I mean, at least you got to, because people are starting to have options. People are, what is that, quiet quitting, where they don't, they do the minimum that they have to do, uh, at work. I tell you, because when people don't feel appreciated, they will find a way to take up the slack
Yeah.
in some way.
One of the things that as much as different generations like to talk about millennials, one of the things that I definitely appreciate about them is that they will quit a job in a heartbeat. I know I'm the type of person, like, I can't just quit. I need a backup plan. I need something lined up. They're like, I don't like the way you're talking to me. This is bullshit. Bye.
Yeah.
And have another job in a day or two. So,
Mhm.
I definitely applaud and admire the boldness that comes with it. Of course, it's not just limited to millennials, but
Well, it
certain
is. It is. You're
generations.
right. You're right. It is very millennial trait. Of course, it's usually people who do that also, though, are making a certain level of money. They're probably not making too high of an income if you just quitting
Mhm.
jobs and running away. Because, honey, at a certain income, you can't just go get that same income just like that without jumping a lot of hoops and headhunters, and then you got other bills coming in, and that is a young person's game. That is a young
Yeah, I
person's
mean,
game to
when
jump
you're bouncing from entry level to entry level position
in.
or
Yeah,
close to, you have a lot more
yeah,
flexibility. When you've been in your field for a while and it's more specialized, it can be a little bit more challenging. But
most definitely.
nevertheless, I do appreciate that boldness because
Hmm.
it just teaches us not to settle. If I don't
Yeah.
like this work environment, if I don't like the way they're treating us, I don't have to put up with it. And companies learned that, especially during COVID. You
Mm.
know, you're paying us next to nothing and requiring all this work from us. I don't have to work here. And so
Yeah.
many companies trying to survive the pandemic were suffering severe staff shortages and kept blaming it, kept blaming it on, oh, people don't want to work. Oh, we're just the government's giving away free money. But
Yeah.
because you have a very shitty work environment and you're not paying anything.
Facts, facts, facts. Uh, Another one of the things to talk about on here on this list, the idea of time and freedom. I remember someone talking about the fact that you want to you're looking to be wealthy not because of the money and things you can buy, is because you can choose how to spend your time. You can choose. You can be in control of your time, and I do think that is such a valuable thing if you can get it right to be able
Oh,
to
for me at
to
this stage of my
yeah,
life, time is my number one priority.
right. It's like, do not waste it. Don't waste my time. You know, and also to have the power to decide how to spend it at all times. That is a luxury. That is a luxury that not everyone has. You know.
No, I went from commuting each way an hour and a half to get to work in some downtown location or some other concentrated metropolitan location, to working from home and just commuting 2 minutes from my bed to the desk. And little things that I can do around the house, just like, okay, I get to cook my own meals and eat healthier. I'll sneak a load of laundry in here and there. It's really been an amazing time savings to be able to work from home.
Mm, lovely.
Uh, yes. Financial, and financial, it's just really varies, not just on what stage in life you are, because income is income. At the end of the day, it just really depends on what your cost of living is. I
Yeah.
remember when we had the housing crisis in 2006, 2007, and it drove us into a recession. And people were losing their jobs left and right because companies had to cut back. And I remember the news talking about how these double income homes, the husband and the wife both made 100,000, and all of a sudden the husband lost his job or the wife lost his job, and now this family has to figure out how to live off 100,000 a year. You know what I could do with 100,000 a year? But and then listening to their struggle on the news, we used to go to Starbucks 5 times a day. Now we have to make our own coffee. So yeah, but I say all that to say this. If you are making 110,000 a year, but your cost of living is 120,000, that income, that six-figure income, might look cute from objectively, but she's not doing it for you because because your spending habits don't match what you're making. Now,
Hmm.
if you're making 35,000 a year and your cost of living is 18,000, 20,000, but it's very tricky to do in this economy. Let's
Right,
be
right.
frank. But if you're savvy enough to work it out somehow, roommates or whatever you're doing, you're going to be on the upside with your income at the end of the year versus your expenses. So it just really varies on your strategies and your financial goals, not
Yeah.
necessarily what that income is.
And then the social wealth. I mean, of course, I think this is all. I mean, all of these are actually kind of relative. Because for me, I know how I define social wealth is that I have people in my life, but I don't necessarily need to see and hang out with everybody. That it's about I know these people, we have connections, we talk on the phone sometimes, we text sometimes, we see each other every blue moon, and that's great. I don't need to be at every house party. I don't need to go to every bar event. I don't need to go to every
It,
party situation.
but invite me, bitch. Let me turn you down, but at least invite me. No, just kidding.
I mean, it's nice to be thought of. It's always nice to be thought of. But I get it. Hey, they're like, oh, cream ain't coming, so we're not even gonna bother. So I get it. Although you never know. You never know. You never know.
So, one of the things I think about my social relationships now versus then, and I think this happens to everybody as, people change, relationships change. It doesn't mean that, they weren't for you. They ran their course. They had a season.
Hmm.
As I've gotten older, um, some relationships have stood the test of time. Some have not. There's some new ones that are in the horizon. Um, but I think what has changed is, the quantity. And there's a saying out there that says, "I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies."
Mm.
And I've definitely adopted that, and that's why time is also so important to me because when I do make times for those social relationships, it's going to be for the ones that carry the most weight and value to me.
Right.
But there are times that I think about my 20s when I had my friends and maybe we weren't, maybe they weren't the best ones for me or we weren't on, the same goal track, so to speak. But it was just kind of nice. I was the one with the apartment. They were staying with family or whatever. And all of a sudden I get off from work at 5 and they'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you home yet? I'm going to stop by. I'm going to stop by." And then the other one, "Oh, y'all stopping by? Okay, I'm going to stop by too." And somebody brings a bottle. Somebody brings, some fried chicken or something. And then, it's just an unplanned hangout at my place. It was cute. It was nice. I definitely had a lot of great memories of those times. But people grow up, people change, people get their own places, people get better jobs, and
People
migrate.
get brand new.
That's how you really feel. No, no, no. But
They get brand new.
these things happen.
They do happen. Now, if you had to treat it like the 5 love languages, what are your 2 most important ones today? I'll say today.
I will say time for sure. Um, I will say physical too. I was torn between physical and mental, but I think I've been prioritizing physical more than mental.
Mm.
I've been going through a spiritual journey and a detox since I left my last job. Uh,
Mhm.
just trying to really regain my mental capacity because my last job really pushed me to some limits, and I didn't realize how much it had done it until I left.
Mm.
And I feel a lot of things now that I've never experienced before. I feel random bouts of anxiety. I'm not as patient as I used to be. I find myself alienating some people and some relationships just because of the unexpected stress that they can bring to me at times, and I'm just not at a place where I can necessarily handle that anxiety that comes with it. So it is a priority. And if I didn't have the issues that I have with diabetes, it would probably be a bigger
Mm.
priority than the
Mm.
physical one.
Mm.
But yeah, mental is definitely important because I just don't want it to get so far gone that I'm just going to find myself, with zero tolerance to anxiety and trying to alienate myself from anybody. At some point, they might be a trigger.
Right. No, that makes sense. For me, it's definitely physical. Try to get her together for health reasons, for physical reasons, because I just really want to be the older hot guy. I just really want to be old, embracing the grays, but body banging. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I want to be
full
the
range of motion,
full
fully.
range of motion, just in the club with the young gays. They're
Yeah,
like,
we got to make sure that body's snatched when we celebrate your next milestone birthday at 40.
yeah, most definitely 40 plus 210. Give me my decade. So I
Design a
think
decade.
yes. All right, design of a decade. I seen the world, been to many places. If you know, you know. If you don't, too bad for you. Uh, so I think the other thing that I'm about right now is my money, trying to figure her out, get her together, and just and do better by it for me, paying myself and and just handling my business, just
Yeah.
kind of handling my business.
Multiple streams of income, open the
Oh,
OnlyFans,
yeah.
and let people see just how thick and girthy that book really is.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about the OnlyFans, but if people are into books, I
and
might
that
start an
and that
OnlyFans book
and how
club.
hard that binding is.
Right. Okay. How she can take a licking and keep on ticking. The book, that strong book. All right. All right, y'all. So we're gonna get ready to close out with just our top three black-led TV shows, and this is in honor of Black History Month. But let me just say one more thing about the five types of wealth. I just want to say, I was, as usual, scrolling through social media. This is something I always say myself, actually. But Dr. Phil was saying it, but I always say this, which is, if you're thinking about doing anything for yourself in any of these areas, just remember that the year is going to go by no matter what you do. Whether you make a decision to do it or not, January or December 31st is coming, you know? It's coming. And hopefully you will have made some strides toward being the kind of person you want to be. It is not easy. It is not easy changing our habits, doing new things. The whole idea about if you want to be somebody different, you got to do something different than what you usually do. That whole thing, it's not easy. But we're here, y'all. We all in the struggle bus together.
Yeah.
But we can
It
do it
really
though.
it helps to just, somebody mentioned this, but it helps when you think about it differently. Like, for me, I've been doing those stretch routines in the morning, and I could very easily think to myself, "Oh, I hate this. I hate this stretch. I hate this." It's like, but if you change that to "I'm about to crush it," it'll motivate you a little bit more. Yes, it's an inconvenience, and yes, I don't really not into this, but you know what? I'm gonna crush this and get on with my day. It's only 20 minutes.
Exactly. Embrace the suck. Embrace the stuff that sucks.
Mhm.
All right. So top three favorite black-led shows. I'll start off. I guess I got to give props to Viola Davis in How to Get Away with Murder. That is one of my favorite shows. Period. Just so happens to be led by a black female. If you have not seen How to Get Away with Murder, you are missing out. It is on Hulu or Netflix. It's on one of the streaming platforms now, and you can watch all the seasons, and really, really get into the fabulosity that is Viola Davis. You know, Emmy Award winner Viola Davis for that show. Murder, intrigue, lesbianism. All of it, all of
She
it.
made out with Jim
Bisexuality.
Gray.
Right. It's all the things. What's one of your shows?
Well, I'm gonna stick with Shondaland, and I'm gonna go on
Mhm.
the other side of that. Scandal with Miss Olivia
Mm.
Pope, Kerry
Mhm.
Washington. Oh my
No,
God, I used to look forward to Thursday. That's when I used to be excited about TV shows. And then they started
right.
at that time. I used to go to this little bar called Bayou City on Thursdays because they did 50-cent wings. And when they started showing the show there, whew, but yeah, I love
Yes.
that show. I love the casework they would do together and stuff. I had mixed feelings because some seasons it was all about the White House, some seasons it was all about casework, but I really enjoyed them working together, solving cases together.
Yes. 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 My next favorite show has got to be The Cosby Show. I don't know if that's something you can say in today's climate, but I'm going to say it. I grew up on The Cosby Show. I love The Cosby Show. And it was
We'll call,
aspirational.
we'll call it the Felicia Rashad show.
That show was one of the favorites, and it kind of just showed me a different way of being black, that I had not really seen around me. I grew up in a trailer park. I didn't see that kind of lifestyle, so it was kind of nice to see that in the media. Uh, you know, in that kind of family unit. And I remember for one of Claire's birthdays, Cliff got her her strawberry cake that she loves, and but not he didn't get just one or two or three cakes. I think he got like 4 or 5 cakes, maybe six. Like he kept coming out with all these cakes, and I was just like, man, that's rich. You can buy all those cakes. That's money. Like I just thought that was so boss at the time. Yeah. What's your next one?
We mentioned it earlier, but I will go with A Different World. I just thought that it was just so a brilliant concept. Very, very groundbreaking, very inspirational. Probably can't even quantify the type of impact that it's had on the community over all these decades. But phenomenal cast, so many moments in there that are just unforgettable. Jasmine guy, and especially that wedding at the end. I'm sorry, Barry. Yes, which also had Diane Carroll.
It did. That's right.
Yes.
Diane Carroll played Jasmine's mom.
And speaking of scandal, Byron, the guy she was getting married,
That's right.
Was Papa Pope in Scandal.
That's right. Papa Pope was in Scandal. Was in that show. That's right. My last show. I mean, there's so many to possibly name, but I guess I'm gonna have to just to go with an oldie but a goodie. I'm gonna go with. I'm vacillating back and forth here, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Jeffersons. I'm gonna go with that one. Just because I just found the show really funny and it was always really entertaining. And although I did keep wondering why they don't fire that maid who keeps talking back and all that trash, I was like, why did he keep that maid around? But
for good TV.
But I really did enjoy that show. Although when I go back and watch those old shows, not all the episodes really stand the test of time in terms of keeping my interest the way that maybe they did when I was a kid. But yeah, I love that show. Once again, showing a little bit another way of life. It's really kind of a close tie between the Jeffersons and Good Times for me because I loved Good Times. I thought it was funny, and of course Janet Jackson was on there before I knew who Janet Jackson was. And so yeah, I'm gonna, but I'll go with the Jeffersons. What's your last show?
Might be surprised to hear this one, but I'm actually gonna go with Family Matters.
And
it's not even because of Steve Urkel. Steve Urkel was just some odd twist to the show that just added to the entertainment. But growing up in that time, there really weren't a lot of shows that I could relate to, and English speaking shows. You really didn't have any shows representing Hispanic families,
right.
And later on it wasn't until later that we got the George Lopez show, and even then but I found it easier to relate to shows like Family Matters and Fresh Prince, even though Fresh Prince was kind of out there. Definitely wasn't gonna really relate to the Brady Bunch or the Partridge Family. I mean, the only other show I really watched at that time was Saved by the Bell. But Family Matters there was just something so relatable about them. You had the TV dad, the TV mom, which I'm glad Reg Van Pelton's getting those commercials now as the TV dad. But there was just so many life lessons taught in that show. You had Carl and Harriet Winslow, which were just so down to earth. You had their kids, including Jamie Foxworth, who went upstairs and just never came back. You had Aunt Rachel, loved her. You had the mom, Estelle. Yeah. And all those relationships created so many opportunities to see and deal with real life situations that were relatable, regardless of what your ethnic background was. Harriet and Rachel finding out, their dad coming back into their life. Harriet having to deal with Estelle as a mother-in-law. Eddie having to deal with racial discrimination by the police, Carl's co-workers. There was just so much in there. Oh, one of my favorite ones also, Laura Winslow, her best friend Maxine. Laura was complaining to her, like, my parents are always restricting me. They put me on these curfews. They want to know where I'm going, blah, blah, blah. Maxine was like, You know what I did last night? I went here, this and that was somewhere she wasn't supposed to go. I was out with this guy. I didn't get home till 3 in the morning. I walked to the door. Everybody was asleep. Not a single person asked, "Where were you? What time? Why did I get in so late?" Nobody cared. So she's like, "While you're over here complaining, be grateful you have a family that loves you and actually cares about you."
Wow.
So yeah, it was so real. It was so real, and so many things that anybody in the family of any age and any stage of their life could be going through. You could find something in there that could help you address it and really bring things into perspective.
Well, those are 6 very different shows. So if you have not seen any of those shows, to our listeners out there, but I bet our listeners have seen those shows. I think we're pretty simpatico with our audience. I think. Well, that is all for the Soulful Cream podcast tonight. Soulful, what do you have planned for yourself tonight? What are you getting into tonight?
Oh, I don't know why I really want a fish sandwich from McDonald's. Don't judge me. I might just walk there because I don't want to lose my parking spot where I'm parked at right now.
Well, hey, if you're going to walk to get the fish sandwich, then you've earned it. You've earned the fish sandwich. That's how I look at it.
The rewards on my app certainly say I've earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's about it. It's just going to be a nice, quiet, chill night. I kind of planned for it this way.
Mm-hmm. I am headed to the gym. God bless me. I don't want to go. I do not.
Oh, come on. You're going to crush it.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go crush it.
Just say it. I'm going to crush it.
I'm going to crush it. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to crush it, dude. I'm going to go crush it. That's what I'm going to do today. But it has been a pleasure chatting with you as always.
Likewise.
And to all of you out there, thank you so much for listening to the Soulful Cream podcast. I am Cream Diggler.
And I am Soulful Mexican.
And until next time, cello.
Bye. My Alaska. My Alaska. Bye.
Bye.